So yeah, she's 26 years young, you guys, and she could literally be anywhere in the world. Super busy. She has the fastest growing agency all around, or in FFL right now. She she's beastie, you guys. I haven't been excited in this long, to introduce this girl right here. She's doing big deposits, and it doesn't matter how old someone is. Age is just a number. She's, like I said, 26 years young, gets up extra early. I'll let her share what time she normally gets up. And I'm excited. So I'm probably missing out so many things, but Miss Nina, I'm not going to say her last name. Nina, where you at? What's up?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so pumped. You're hyping me up way too much. Come on.
No, you need all the hype. I feel like I didn't say enough, but that's all you. So yeah, I mean, just share a bit. I mean, who are you? You're 26 years young. There's so many. We have a lot of, me and Renee just started hiring like about 6-7 months ago. There's a lot of brand new people on here, and we kind of, we're new with this. So just share a bit, like, who are you? Where'd you come from? Like, where'd you come from? And what are you doing now? And go ahead.
Absolutely. So Nina D, you guys, last name Damjanovic. For those of you that don't know how to pronounce it, it's a hard one. But basically, I've been in the insurance industry for about 4 years now, with FFL for 2 years. So rewind back to 2000, a couple years ago, 4 years ago, I was actually a personal trainer. And I own my own personal training business, and it was great. I was making decent money for a personal trainer, but I just was not fulfilled. It was just literally one of those things where I looked in the mirror one day and I said, okay, I'm a personal trainer now. I'm young, whatever. What is my life going to look like when I'm like 30, 40, 50, 60 years old? Because with, personal trainer, people always want the new next best thing. And I just literally looked at my future and I'm like, okay, this isn't it. Right. So I had a bunch of friends start in the insurance industry, and I saw their posts on social media all the time. And it was like how much money they were making. And I was like, these people, like, not only are they making a good income, but like they look like they're actually really fulfilled with what they're doing. So got my license 4 years ago. I started as a captive agent in the insurance industry. So you guys, when I say captive agent, I mean 30% comp. I was getting like 150 leads every like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, dialing the same leads over and over and over again. And these weren't like leads, FFL leads, where people were like, are requesting our help, right? These were leads of someone requesting something that's completely free. And I had to go to their home, call them, tell them I was coming to deliver them some free things, get to their home, and I'm trying to bait and switch them into buying life insurance. So that was my job. So it was a 2-year grind, 30% comp. My last year there, I made 36 grand. And it just got to a point where I was like, okay, this ain't it. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. So so Hayden and I, so that's my boyfriend, he was my upline basically at the starter company. And he had found FFL a couple of years ago. And he was like, dude, we should switch to this company, like high comp, warm buyer leads, like people actually legit requesting insurance. And I was like, that sounds like a scam. Like, no way. So when I had like my last straw with that starter company, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give FFL a shot. Like, this is like my last shot in insurance. If it works out, great. If not, like, that's a wrap. Right. So started FFL in August of 2019. I literally like dipped my toes in. It wasn't like literally like my first week I bought leads, I wrote 8 grand, and then I took off to Hawaii for 10 days. And I was like, I made 8 grand. And then I'm like, I think I'm like so high on life. I've never had so much money in my bank account. Like, this is it. And then I come back, I had a chargeback, and that stung a little bit. And then I was just like, okay, like it was just one of those things where I was just so part-time. I was like buying $400 a week or every 2 weeks worth of leads. And I was trying to stretch those leads over a month, and it just wasn't working out for me. I was like, dude, like, I just can't seem to figure this out. And I'm sure most of you guys know Grady Polson on here, or you've maybe seen him, but he was one of the fastest growing agencies in all of FFL, and he sold business at a very high level. And that's who I work with basically. And he kept telling me like, dude, if you go all in on this business, like put your head down and actually work, like, and not just say you're working. Cause that's what I was doing. I'm like, Grady, I'm making the dials. I'm working my butt off. I was not. I was like making like 3 dials from home. I'd book like 1 appointment and I was good. So long story short, I was very part-time until November 2019. So there was actually a conference in Vegas, and I believe 100% that events in this business change lives. This business is built from event to event. And I went to this conference and it like, everyone was like speaking to me. Everyone's like, talking about how much, income they've made, how many lives they've impacted, how big their business has grown over such a period of time. And one thing I just kept hearing was like, if you actually genuinely go all in on this business and spend the right amount on leads and run 30 to 40 appointments a week, there is no way to fail, no matter how bad your closing ratio is, or no matter how bad you are on the phones. Like if you just put in that time and work, like you're going to win. So
real quick, when's the next conference that we're having?
So we have one in Phoenix, Arizona. It's November 15th, and it's going to be a good one. So it's at the Dream City Church. I'll send you the flyer. The convention.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that one.
I mean, do you advise people to go to that one? I mean, do you think they'll make it?
100%. Like if you can make it, or if you're near there, go, because it's going to be a big one. I see them promoting it everywhere. It's like the launch to basically 2022. It'll be the last conference of this year, but the convention, that thing is a freaking game changer. So I 100% recommend everyone going to the convention. It's in Miami. It's like the first week of February. If you guys just register, I think it's FFL.
Weena, can you post that in the Slack and also in the Zoom chat to make sure everyone is it free or do you have to pay? Or
100% free. Like, dude, we used to have to pay like $1,900 for our convention. It was crazy. So like being able to go to this like 3-day event, hear from Sean Mike, Andrew Taylor, just all these people. And then there's even like guest speakers that they bring on. It's incredible. And it's a huge eye opener of where you can take this business. So, so I went to that event, and it was just one of those things. Like, it was like, everyone always talks about the flip switching. And that was when the flip switched, or the switch flipped. I said that was so backwards, but basically from then on, I was like, okay, I'm committing. Like I heard people talking about Hall of Fame and what I needed to do to get there. And it was one of those things where like, they say $2,000 a week in leads, right? Well, I didn't have that. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I can just blow $2,000 in leads. Like it wasn't like that at all. I was spending $400 a week in leads. So it was like gradual. So I went from spending $400, making money back, investing it back into the business, pouring in $600, $800, $1,000, $1,200, and it increased from there. And my number one goal was Hall of Fame. And I was literally going to do everything in my power to hit it. And I absolutely did. So
real quick, what's Hall of Fame, Nina?
So Hall of Fame with FFL is $400,000 in issue paid volume in a single calendar year. It's really cool. You get this awesome red jacket. All of the Hall of Fame producers and agency owners have one. Literally says Hall of Fame, and it's like one of the most rewarding things you could do. And I think anyone can hit Hall of Fame. Like for me, it was like all about working the numbers backwards. It was like, okay, Hall of Fame is $400,000 a year. And a lot of people hit Hall of Fame. It's not like my last company, like the top dog is doing like $270,000 a year. So like $400,000 a year, like there's a ton. Like I was like number probably like 70 or something. And it's like crazy how many people do it. But it's all about working the numbers backwards. So like $400,000 a year, that's 33,333 I can't even talk today. 33,333 a month. You break that down into weeks, and it's like 7,700 a week. And then you break it down into days, and it only ends up being like 1,700 a day. So it's really like, when you break it down, like when you look at it as a big number, it seems huge, but it really isn't.
I love it. Yeah, you got me hyped. I mean, we can send this call right now. All right, you guys. So y'all heard from me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love it. So you're in a different insurance company. I was actually listening to your audios before I got to the house. You're at 30%. I came from a company as well, getting paid 30%. You found FFL. You're spending about $300-$400 a week on leads. You took a trip and you went through some chargebacks. And were you okay whenever you went through the chargebacks? Because I know, everybody, there's a lot of, there's people that get chargebacks. I mean, were you mentally okay when you went through that?
Oh, I cried. I'm like, I used to be so emotional. Like, it's just like, that's one thing I've learned over this journey with FFL. And the more business I started writing, like when you're busy, you don't have time to get emotional. It's like on to the next. And when I was getting emotional, I was like, dang, I'm not busy enough. Like, why am I getting so emotional? It's like my own fault. I'm not working my full potential. I'm not buying enough leads. I'm not seeing enough people. Like, there, you can't blame yourself, or you have to blame yourself. You can't blame other people or the system.
That part. And as you work, you don't really see the chargebacks as much, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. No, you don't even let them get to you. It's like, as you're selling more and more, you're like, oh, whatever, I'm going to write that off in one appointment,
I love it. What else? So in the beginning, you said you didn't spend that much on leads. And then as you started making more money, you didn't just go hurry up and pay more bills and all that. You snowballed it and you started putting more back into the business. And, about how much are you spending now on leads?
I would say I've consistently spent around $1,500 to $2,000 a week in leads. So okay. Like, it's so funny because my boyfriend and I talk about this all the time. Like, he's so good at sales. Like, it's the most insane thing. Like, we could have the same number of appointments, we could sit the same people. Let's say he has 10 appointments. He's going to sell 7 of them. I'm going to sell 2 of them. So like, he's one of those people that can get away with buying $1,000 a week in leads and selling 10, 15, 20 grand a week, where I was like, dude, I have to spend more if I want that same result. Right. So like, I was never the best on the phones. I was never the best in the home, but I knew that if I bought $2,000 a week in leads and I had a ton of leads to dial on, no matter what, I was going to be able to book my 15, 20 appointments over 2 days. And if I sat those 15, or if I booked those, let's say I booked 20, I knew I was going to at least sit 12 of them. Out of those 12, if I made 1 to 3 sales, I was good. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then running like 40 appointments a week, like, yeah, you're going to get 15 no-shows maybe. If your closing ratio is bad, like at 30, 40, 50%, FFL bad, right? Like, you're going to win regardless. It's a game of activity.
Exactly. You know the numbers, girl. As long as you know the numbers and you keep the numbers in your favor, it's always going to work out. So in the beginning, like, what kind of leads did you buy? A lot of people, they bought certain type of leads in the beginning and they transition to something else, or unless you stayed consistent with the same type of leads. What kind of leads did you buy in the beginning, and what are you buying now?
So in the beginning, like, I always laugh about this because, like, when we just started there, like, we didn't really have much in the CRM back then. Like, we couldn't just go in and pick up like 100, 200 leads anywhere. It was like, you had what you had in the CRM, a few leads here and there. And then you had to like order leads in advance. So like, it was like, when I started, it was primarily final expense leads. So I would say about 60, 70% of my business last year was final expense. So I was buying like the Game Time, the Happy Agents, the Lead Guru, Tips and Tricks closers. Like, I was just ordering from a bunch of them, and I kind of figured out like a good flow for myself. So there were days where I was like, it was Monday and I'm like, dang, I don't have enough leads ordered. I don't have enough leads to dial in front of me. So I knew, okay, I have to start making my orders a little bit earlier, right? So I'm prepared for that Monday dial day. So that's how it was. And then it was like, October last year, they introduced the instant internet leads. And that was like a game changer. I was like, oh, like, there's leads in the CRM. You can literally purchase them there and then, and they're in your CRM, like right away. Like, it's a wrap. I'm freaking wrapping up Hall of Fame. So, and I was one of those people where it was like, I had planned on hitting Hall of Fame all year, but it wasn't until like the last 3 months that I really locked in. Like, I had to write 50 grand 3 months in a row to lock it in. And those, without the CRM leads, the instant internet leads, the new internet leads, I don't think I would have done it. So those are definitely my favorite.
So you've been buying, so majority of what you buy now is instant leads?
I would say instant, and then I love the 1 and 3 months.
Oh, I love it. Okay. What, how many leads are you buying for the instance? Like, what would you say? Because, there's people that are buying 20, 30. And, you know, so like you even laugh. So on Monday, and so today's Thursday, you bought your leads yesterday for your instant. So how many are you buying?
At least 100, at least. So like I'm trying, like per dial day, I want to have at least 100. And then of course, like I'm dialing like old leads as well. So like as you're in this for a long period of time, like you're gonna build up that lead inventory, and you're just gonna always have people to call, like no matter what. Like I know that if I buy 100 instants, and if I've only booked like 11, 12 appointments, well, I still need to book those 3 more. So I'm going to go through those again, and then I'm going to go through all my old leads too.
Yeah.
So at least 100.
Okay.
And then Renee, for like new agents, I always set the expectation of like, you're going to book about 15, 20% of the instants that you buy.
Okay. I love it. Renee, you want to add, or how you doing? This is my business partner in crime.
Hi, Nina.
Renee looks spicy. She looks like she's ready to rock and say something.
Hey, yeah. Nina. No, I'm super honored that you were able to jump on and give us your time and attention. It's so greatly appreciated. So thank you for being here. But yeah, so I watch and seen a lot of your training videos, and like you're amazing. So we're just super excited to have you on here. So I was looking at here, the couple of things that stuck out to me was, number one, especially for new agents, that magic number that you'll hear over and over again is that you can't fake that 30 to 40 appointments per week if you're full-time to really run those numbers. And I do like what you said about essentially like fake working. Like we trick ourselves and give ourselves all this busy work all the time to make it feel like we're working, and we're not really doing the things that matter, those income producing activities. Those are a couple of things that stuck out to me, and I just wanted to hit that on everybody else one more time. But one of the biggest things that I feel like you are amazing at is social media. Like you are the queen of social media. And when it comes to recruiting and building a team, because you do have one of the fastest growing organizations in our company, what is it that you do? Where did you start? Why did you start recruiting? Because I know you're kind of slow to do that as well. At the beginning, Chantel and I were like, no way, we're not building an agency. I'm not doing that. And then here we are building an agency, because we do know the type of impact that it can make on everybody else. So when did that flip switch for you? What wanting to, and when did you realize that social media was such an impactful tool for you?
Absolutely. So first things first, I was 9 months in and I had just hired my first agent. So like, if you guys are 9 months or less and have already hired someone, like you're a million steps ahead of me. Cause I was being selfish. It was just one of those things where with my practice company, it was one of those things where I would recruit agents. It was just such a poorly ran system. Like I would recruit agents, they'd make a sale or two, and they wouldn't stick. It was just always a revolving door. So I felt like it was going to be the same thing at FFL. I thought I was going to come in, hire people, recruit, build this agency, and then people were just going to leave. Well, that wasn't the case, because people can actually make money with FFL. So like once I started selling at a high level, so my thing was like, I was being very selfish. I was like, no, I'm not going to recruit. And then one day I look at my bank account and I'm like, dang, like this is a lot of money that we're making. Like this is real, and it's consistent too. So it was in like May or June of 2020. And I hired my first agent, and she started selling at a high level, and I'm like, dang. And I hired her off social media. So it was just like, I posted one thing about FFL. She responded, hired her. I was like, dang, like this could be good. And in prior experiences and like other things that I've done, like social media is like the number one way to recruit, period. Warm market and social media. It's free. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on, Zip, Career Builder, stuff like that. You could literally log on, make a post, and it's completely free. Or you can cold message people. So in the beginning, I was using primarily LinkedIn. So I didn't even have a LinkedIn account before FFL, you guys, like at all. So like I started my LinkedIn account with FFL, and one of the main things was just being consistent. So just like consistency in the field, you want to be consistent with recruiting and social media and all of that, because you're not going to get results if you aren't consistent. So basically with that, I was just, at first I was making, 2 to 4 posts a day, and I was getting some results, but not as much as I was wanting, right? So I was like, okay, it's time to amp this thing up. So basically I run a couple different social media platforms for recruiting purposes. So primarily it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat. So like my motto is literally, if I can add a friend on it, I'm using it. Doesn't matter what it is, where it comes from. Like I'm posting it, I'm going to get in front of people. And the way the social media algorithms work, like all across the board, are the more you post, the more you're going to get in front of people, and the more you're going to be the top person that gets in front of people. So I could probably post something right now, and if you guys are following me, I'm probably going to be one of the top people that pops up, simply due to the fact that I post so dang much. It's almost obnoxious, but you want to be obnoxious about it, right? Because like this opportunity.
I'm sorry, one thing, do you mean post to your story, or are you posting to your actual pages?
I'm doing both, but mostly stories. So like stories are what people like. I did like a poll one day and I was like, what do you guys watch more of? Is it stories or is it actual feed? Most people are going through stories like all day long. It's just like habitual for most people at this point, right? Yeah. So basically my goal on every single platform is to post 25 stories a day. So at least 25. And I do a mix of things. So like people love to see work stuff and they want to see all that, but they also want to see that you're living a cool, balanced life. So like my first thing every single morning is like, I wake up every single morning at 5 a.m. and that's completely changed my life. Been way more productive. I get ish done at that time. So like 5 a.m. I post like my daily quote on there. And then at like, so people like to see that you're waking up early, that you're hustling, that you're doing the thing. And then I post like, I just finished at the gym. And then I'll start rolling through like my FFL stuff. So in the beginning, I didn't have much to post because I didn't have this huge success story like most people do. Well, FFL is everywhere, you guys. You can use stuff from other people's social media platforms. You can use stuff from the Facebook groups, from the FFL websites, from LinkedIn. Like I was just copying everyone, like anything that Alondra would post, I was taking that. I was like, Alondra has a big agency. I'm going to take whatever she's posting and I'm going to post it on my story. And that's how I just ultimately got results, is I was just oversharing stuff. And in the beginning, it was like a lot of like me stuff, because I didn't have like, again, I didn't have agents to, you know, show off and post their sales and stuff. So it was like, I just made, you know, $1,400 in a single hour by helping Mary with her life insurance. So those are the kind of stories I was posting. And then I was like, okay, I've been doing this for 4 years. People know that I know how to sell insurance at this point. So I'm going to start sharing, oversharing other people. So now it's just all about sharing other people's stories. So an example would be like, let's say I hire, I'm sure you guys know Caitlin Blackburn. She's already at Hall of Fame 6 months in. But basically I'll share single mom, Caitlin Blackburn, newly licensed with us, just made $1,300 by protecting one client in a home for, you know, her life insurance. Or Caitlin earned $38,000 this month by helping families with their life insurance. She was previously making $2,800 a month. So just shining the light on other people. And there's so many stories out there. Like it doesn't have to be your direct agent. It can be anyone within FFL, but everyone has a story to share.
Nina, so, by the way, you noticed, but I take a lot of your stories until we have more success like you guys.
I love it. It's the best thing ever. And I tell everyone else's. Like the other day, like I was on Brandon Kitching's call this morning, and he was like, I take your stories all the time. I'm like, dude, I take your stories all the time. Like you post good content. Like, come on.
I mean, they're like, someone asked, like, she's gonna get mad at you. You're always taking. I'm like, I don't, you know, I'm pretty sure. No. I mean, we're sharing each other's stories until we create our own stories. So exactly. You said you didn't hire. Oh, go ahead.
But one thing I just want to kind of hit on too one more time, since you said it, I think it's so important that when you're sharing on social media, that you're sharing the stories and not just, Chantel Mark, she did $5,000 AP. Like people don't understand what that means, right? But if you're saying somebody, Chantel Mark, you don't work at Chili's anymore, but from Chili's to earning this kind of commission, and she did it in 24 hours, super proud of you, things like that, or the single mom stories. And if you're sharing those people's stories along with their success, is way more impactful. But I do like that you share 25 stories per day on each one of these outlets, is what I'm hearing.
And it's relatable. Awesome. Like what you said, it's relatable content. And I didn't understand that for a little bit. Like I was posting a lot of leaderboards and stuff. And one of my friends who's like in a completely different industry messaged me and said, I love what you do. And like, you're so inspiring and I know you're crushing it, but like, can you make this make sense to the people you're posting it to? And that was like, oh, light bulb, like I'm going to make this stuff way more relatable, and using stories like that from, you know, a server to a life insurance agent, or from a car salesman to a life insurance agent, just using those little things.
So one of the things that I've been really curious on too is that, because, you know, with hashtags, we have access at our fingertips to get to specifically life insurance agents or any other companies that people are working for. When you're direct messaging people, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So it depends on who and what it is. So I utilize hashtags a lot. So that's one thing. So like, one thing is like, so like when I first started using the whole hashtag thing, I was just listing up down a bunch of companies and life insurance companies, and I was only following licensed agents. And I'm like, dang, like I was looking at some of the top producers within our agency. I'm like, dang, these people are newly licensed. Like these people selling the most just got their license 2, 3, 4 months ago. So then I started targeting like a lot of salespeople in general. Like they didn't have to be licensed. So it was like pest control or solar sales or whatever it is. So just using different hashtags, different company names. I like to use like the places on Instagram. So like you can look up like offices. So if you put in like Family First Life and places, a bunch of people's offices are going to come up, and you can click on those offices, and whoever's posted a picture there, you follow them, you message them. So that's what I do too. But the message, it just depends. So if it's someone that's licensed, I don't like to attack them and say, hey, I work with FFL, here's the overview video, this is what you need to do. Like, no, you want to like warm up to them a little bit. So like the first thing is just always compliment them on something. So like if I'm following someone that's in the life insurance industry, I already know what company they're with based off their page. My message is going to be, hey, Renee, I see that you're crushing it with Family First Life. I'm in the same industry as you. How long have you been with FFL? And then basically based off what you respond to me, it would basically be a conversation from there. Hey, have you heard about FFL and what we're doing here? We have the highest comp in the industry. No, you haven't heard of us? Okay, no worries. Check out this 17-minute video. It goes A through Z of what FFL is. After that, let's schedule a phone call and we'll go basically through the rest. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then if it's someone that's, for example, like one of our top producers, her name is Casey Trout. And she was just a cold LinkedIn message. And it was just like, hey, Casey, hope you're well. You look really sharp. Have you ever considered the insurance industry? And she was like, no, tell me more about it. What company are you with? And I said, I'm with Family First Life. We're niche in the insurance industry. We're actually brokers. We work with a bunch of the top A and A+ rated companies. Would you like for me to send you a video that goes into more detail? She said, yes, sent it to her. After you get done, let's hop on a phone call. We'll go through the rest. And then if you guys haven't used that 17-minute, you guys use the Rogue Admiral video, right?
Yeah, the 17-minute video.
That thing's like the best thing on the planet, because like literally you send it out, someone watches it, and it's like, you know, if they didn't watch it, like I will not get on the phone with someone unless they've watched that video, because then I'm going to sit there on the phone with them for like 45 minutes going through what FFL is, right? So it's like, hey, watch this. It goes A through Z what FFL is. After that, we'll get on the phone for 10 minutes and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
So I want to pause real quick. I love it. Appreciate you, Nina. So there's a lot of new people, and just like how you were, Nina, just like how I was, I personally came from a background of network marketing, and, you know, I built an organization of thousands of people, and then something happened with the company. And then I joined a different network marketing company and built another organization with thousands of people. And then I think I did, yeah, it was another one. I did 3, you know, and the third one was about over 1,000. So when I came to this, I'm like, I'm not coming in here to recruit. I don't want to talk to anybody. Hold on, someone is on unmute. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I came in this, and basically I was anti, like, I don't want to talk to anybody about this. I don't want to, you know, I just want to make some money. And like, it felt just like how you said, it felt good to like see over 20,000 in my account consistently. I'm like, oh my God, I feel selfish. So, you know, a big reason, because, you know, a lot of people are listening to this hiring and all that. And, you know, some people are like, I don't want to hire, I just want to learn, you know, to make money. But it's a big reason why a lot of us started hiring is, for one, you know, we felt selfish to make this money, and other people, you know, didn't know. For 2, we heard about integrity. A lot of people, you know, they're brand new still, and they don't know what integrity is. And I don't know 100% all the way what it is yet, but you know, whenever your agency basically grows to over a million, over a million, then you're wealthy. You're making a lot of money. You're making a whole lot of money in this thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and Nina's actually on the verge of pretty much, you know, I know that's coming very soon, or it's you know, in the place, you know, it's pretty much getting tied up. So I just want to show, you know, like give a timeline of, you know, the reason why we're hiring and the reason why a lot of people are just going crazy with it now, because I didn't get it at first, and so it's like the Matrix. Like now I really get it.
Absolutely. It gives you like with most companies, it's like, for example, with my practice company, it was like, hey, you got to work 10 years, bust your butt, and then you're going to be fully vested, and then you get to keep your renewals for the rest of your life, which is like $8,000 a month. And you're like, dude, like, what am I going to do with that? Right. So I've never seen anything like Integrity where, you know, they take all the chips off the table. It's like, you know, you get to still build your agency, you get to still have massive goals, but you know, them covering your giving you that chunk of money up front, giving you that salary, taking over all your overhead, like the office, your staff, like it just gives you so much more opportunity for growth. And that's like the best thing ever. And then you just look at FFL as a whole, like, and how much we have grown since Integrity's been in the picture, and like the amount of resources we now have with, you know, the instant internet leads and just being flooded with new resources and leads. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's like you work for a season of your life for 2-3 years. Say people are doing a year and a half. What did Grady do? How long did it take him again?
2.5 years.
It's freaking crazy. And he's pretty much retired. All right. So what else, Renee?
So what I really want to know, because we do have so many brand new people on the call, when you have a new agent that's coming in, never done insurance ever in their life, this is the very first time that they've done this, what type of expectations or plan do you lay out for them?
I think a huge thing is like, I definitely prep people for like at the end of the day, we're running a business. Like it's very hard. Like you're going to shoot yourself in the foot if you come in and you're like, hey, I have $200 in leads. Like, it's not going to work out. Okay. Like we'll reevaluate once you have like $1,000 to spend in leads. That's when we're going to reevaluate and like actually start this for you. So like I set up proper expectations. Like I let everyone know from day one, like, hey, this is the most challenging career I've ever done in my entire life, and most challenging thing, period, I've ever done in my entire life, but it's also the most rewarding. You can make a lot of money, but you do have to work your butt off. And by work your butt off, I mean like the phones are probably 80% of this business, and they're the hardest part of this business. So if you don't have the discipline to dial when, you know, things are rough on the phone, like if you're dialing your first 20 leads and you don't get any appointments, like you can't go cry about it. It's literally like, you just have to get back on the phones and have to keep pushing. And like, I let people know, like, hey, take the emotion out of the business. Like it's sales at the end of the day. There's good days, there's bad days, but you have to get really, really uncomfortable and disciplined. At the end of the day, this whole thing is a game of numbers and discipline. The people who work the hardest, buy the most leads, see the most people are always going to win. And then again, with the leads, like I said, the proper expectations, like, hey, if you're spending this much on instant internet leads, you're probably going to book 15 to 20% of them. It just is what it is. If you're buying the 1 in 3 months, you're going to book 10% of them. Some days you might get lucky and you might book like 20 in a row. Like that, it's happened before, right? But I never like set people's expectations too high, because I don't want, you know, like at the end of the day, it is hard freaking work what we do. So, and I think it's so cool that FFL is like adapting to all this like virtual stuff too. Like it's freaking legit. Like we've had a ton of people running the live transfers this week very successfully. I'm going to tell you guys a funny freaking story. So, have you guys done the live transfers yet?
No.
No.
Okay.
So our agents are like crushing them. Like they're freaking great. Like I think a hybrid system is great. Like during the dead times in your dial day, like pick up the phones, answer those live transfers. So like I called one of the vendors and I set mine up last week, and I was like, okay, I'll let these live transfers come in, whatever. So I had them paused over the last week. And I kept telling Hayden, like, dude, I'm super scared. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I see all these people selling them, but like, I'm so scared to actually turn mine on and run them. I was like, give me a pep talk. He's like, dude, you're a Hall of Fame producer. You got this. Like, you're going to crush them. And I like kept dragging my feet. I was just like, I don't know. I just let fear get in the way. So yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn these live transfers on and I'm going to make it happen. You guys, the first one calls, lady was literally like, hey, I want this much coverage. I failed so bad. Like I literally made the lady not want to get insurance. Like she literally was probably like, yeah, I'm never getting life insurance ever. So like I failed it that hard. And then the next two, it's like I literally the second and third dial, I closed for 3,200. And it was just one of those things, like I was letting fear just get in the way. And I think that's what people do oftentimes with this business is like they buy the leads and they're either scared to dial them or like they get an objection. So they let that one objection or like one person hanging up follow through the rest of their day. And like, it's the most important thing to just like put your head down, focus, and know that the numbers are always going to work out if you work. So.
And it's okay to suck in the beginning.
Oh my God. That's like the best part. Like I look back. So like so last year when I was on my Hall of Fame run, Grady was kind of like transitioning out of the field. So he kept throwing me appointments. He's like, hey, I have 7 appointments on the books today. Go run them. So he gave me freaking like 43 mortgage protection. And you know how expensive those dang leads are. So like he gave me these appointments. I literally went 0 for like 43. And he's like, dude, I can't give you appointments anymore. Like you suck. But like I failed forward and then I started learning and running them and then I closed them. So it's just like failing forward. It's okay to suck. Like Brandon Kitching said today, like success, like the word suck is in that word. And like, it's okay to suck. It's okay to fail your way forward. And you're supposed to, like, it's never rainbows and butterflies.
Fail forward. I love it.
Absolutely. I love it. And I also love that, you know, discipline is such a big, big word here because, you know, everybody's motivated to come in here and make $20,000, $30,000 a month, right? But motivation only lasts but for like that long. And then when motivation leaves, that's when discipline really has to take over. And I feel like definitely with you being so successful, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it says a lot about your discipline. So I just want to reiterate that it's very, very important to stay disciplined and forget about the motivation, because that's an emotional thing and you're not going to feel like doing things a lot of times. But it's 8:40 at night, and shout out to everybody that is still in the office with me right now. Discipline, right? So
hey, real quick before I forget, I had a few people that wanted me to ask you. So Nina, you I know you started hiring after 9 months. When did you hire, like, I guess a recruiter or when did you hire an admin, and like what was your goal? Like how much did you start making whenever you did hire your first admin?
So I was being like one of those like really, really cheap people where like Grady was like, dude, you should already have like 8 admins by now. Not really, but he's like, you should already have a few. And I didn't even have any. Like I was already selling like, you know, 50 grand a month. I had an agency doing like 250 grand a month. And I was like, no, I can handle everything on my own. Everything was a dang mess was what it was. I was like calling clients like, hey, you got approved. Hey, this is good. You know, hey, your policy is getting mailed to you. So I was just all over the place. And it was actually did not hire my first admin until February of this year. So we were right around 250 a month in February, 300 a month, I would say in February. And I didn't hire my first admin until then. But the crazy thing is that from February to now, so we did 300-ish in February. We did 1.7 million this last month. So like having an admin, like I've told Luis is like, now I have 4. But like Luis was like the backbone to everything. Like literally the month she started, like I don't really think we even added that many new agents. It was just like things were way more structured. Like we were getting people through way faster. Contracting was going much smoother. People were actually getting their vouchers on time. So like hiring an admin, and in the beginning, like you hire an admin to keep more business on the books. So like one thing Grady told me was like, dude, like your very first admin is there to call all your people where, you know, bad banks, ones that cancel, send thank you cards, like little touches to little things, maybe keep track of chargebacks, like QuickBooks, stuff like that. And then ultimately your next admin to get to that next level or your next person you hire is like a recruiter to help you get to that next level. But like, I wish I hired someone like day one. Like if I could redo everything, I would hire my first admin if I didn't even have an agency, if I was selling 20 grand a month.
No, 20,000. Okay. So whenever you hired your admin at 250 to 300,000, how long did it take you to hit $1 million?
So we hired her in February. We did $1 million in July.
Okay, pause real quick. You heard that, Weena? Come on now. All right.
Excuse you.
Okay, appreciate that. And then someone else asked, so whenever you hire brand new people, you're really good at this. When you hire brand new people, I noticed that do you get their Instagrams in the beginning? Quote me if I'm wrong, Samika, because you asked this question. Like, what's your process of like, y'all tag each other real fast in the very beginning?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I make sure I have every single one of my agents on Instagram. Like, that's just like a connection thing. You know what I mean? Hey, do you have an Instagram account? Hey, do you have a Facebook account? I'm going to go ahead and add you and plug you into the Facebook group. Hey, do you have an Instagram account? Hey, I'm going to follow you. And I'm also going to send you our FFL Limitless page. That way you can follow that page too for updates, calls, leaderboards, stuff like that. And I love shining the light on people. Like, if someone comes,
quick, everybody post your Instagram in the Slack or in this page real quick. I'm gonna follow you guys after this, but go ahead, Nina.
There you go. But yeah, like people love recognition. People love to be recognized, and like think about how good you felt when you made your first sale. Like, you were pumped, you're trying to jump off walls, and like I just want to like shine. Like, that's one thing Grady did with me. He was like, and Jordan Lowry and Andrew, and like they were just shining the light, and it felt really good. People just love to be recognized. So like that's how we are with everyone. Like, as soon as someone makes their first sale, I'm posting it everywhere. And what I like to do is, like, with social media, is like, if I'm posting one person's sale, like that made a brand new sale, I'm tagging a bunch of different people in it within FFL. They don't even have to be within our agency. I'm just tagging people so I can get in front of a whole new network of people.
That's
so
smart.
now more people are seeing my posts, people that don't even follow me, then they're following me and they're curious of like, oh, what is this girl doing? Who is this girl?
You are a smart little, I love it. You are smart. Okay. And then let's open up for real quick before we do questions, a few questions. How are these deposits looking, Nina? I love how like being in all the previous companies that I was in, like I probably didn't make no more than like $3,000 or $4,000. And like people, like we would never ever show our bank accounts. And now this company is so transparent. Like, we don't show deposits to be like, look at me. It's like to show what's possible. Cause I didn't think I was like, I'm doing all these big companies and I'm not making no money. But to like, like if I can do it, a lot of people know I'm ADD and I'm crazy as heck, but it's like, if I can make whatever we're making, it's freaking insane. But Nina, like what's the highest, month that you had?
Oh my gosh. So Hayden and I, we work together. We both sell, we have combined bank accounts. So like when I say this number, it's like both of us, right? So in August, I think that was our biggest, this last month was our biggest month. We deposited 229,000.
I'm hanging up. That's it. This call is done. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. Gosh,
it's crazy. And it's like,
go ahead, Nina. Go ahead. I'm lit. I'm excited. Go.
It's too, and like, of course, like we have stuff. So we ended up netting like 196 after like staff, everything. But it's just one of those things where like, you guys, like I never in my, like I said, like my last insurance job, like I made 36 grand that whole year, like working my butt off, or so I thought. But literally, like, it's so crazy. Like anyone can do this thing. And like, that's one thing Grady kept telling me was like, dude, you can do this. Like, you just got to get to work. Like, stop pretend working, like get to work. Sacrificing. That was a huge thing. Like Hayden and I used to go on all these little vacations. Like we'd be like, oh, let's go to Vegas. We live in Arizona. Vegas is a 4-hour drive. Let's go to Cabo. It's a 2-hour flight. Like things are real close and we love vacationing. We have a lot of friends that, we're 26 years old. There's a lot of distractions. There's weddings, there's birthdays. Oh, bachelorette parties. Like we've made some dang sacrifices, and some, like I've lost some friends because of it. But I mean, realistically, like I'm just trying to, like, they'll understand, you know what I mean? And most of them have now. They're just like, dude, the life you've built is like incredible. And that's the thing. It's like, what are you willing to give up to get to where you want to be?
Yeah.
I gave up.
That's still hard for me.
I'm addicted. No, really. Man, you got me like, it's so like so many people, like I was talking to one of our agents, Lynn Ann, it's like, if I have to, suck for 5, 6, 7 months, it's worth it. Like, like to work for a year and make 10,000 a month or 20,000 a month. Like, people are going to school for 4, 6, 8, 12 years to make this type of money. And when people come in this, it's like, I don't it's hard for me to take so many people serious now because I'm seeing the numbers of, oh, I'm going to blow us up. I got this. And then it's like, they go through a few, 2 days of dial days and they're not, they
Question for you guys. Has
Okay.
FFL like ruined money for you guys? Like, you know what I mean? Like we talk about this all the time. Like, I mean, dude, we were just hoping we'd make like 10 grand a month here,
Man.
and it's like, holy crap. And then you start making 15 grand a month on your own pen, and then 20, and then 30. And then that number just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, dude, I don't even I can't. Money, it's just like money's just a byproduct. Like, it's dope, but it's like completely ruined it. I'm like, it's never like, I don't know. It's just the craziest experience of my life.
I love it. All right, y'all. I know we're coming up and about to close this off, and I know you're super busy, Nina. Anybody? I have a few questions real quick before we let the one and only Nina out. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I'm not in this group, but I jumped on here because I know.
Hey, you are in the group. You're part of the you're FFL though, right?
Yes.
That's all that matters.
So I have a question. If out of nowhere somehow we just started recruiting and we're just kind of growing and I already feel overwhelmed, how do you handle that? Like, it's just
staff.
No, we like literally just started a couple months ago, and we're the only ones that have actually been selling. I'm like, what's going on? Like,
It can get overwhelming, especially when you're selling at a high level. So biggest piece of advice is hire someone, even if you have to hire them part-time for like vouchers for, plugging people in, plugging them into the groups. Cause like it can get, this is the thing. It's if you don't have staff, like a lot of people is a lot of people for you guys, cause you're overwhelmed right now. But if you don't have staff, those lots of people can go away real quick because of lack of structure, right? Cause they're just going to be like, dude, this is a dang mess. So I would highly recommend hire someone. You guys are selling, you both are selling. So you guys have two incomes, split someone part-time if you need to, and then increase their hours as your growth continues.
Mm-hmm. Good. Awesome.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you get leadership step by step? Like, did you feel overwhelmed? Like, I listen to you talk and all the stuff that you're saying. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's doing so much. So all of this came step by step and somebody guided you with what to do, or did you just figure this out on your own?
Honestly, it was like a lot of trial and error, because like what works for one person might not work for the other. So like I always, like, the biggest thing is to like ask for advice up. Like, so I always ask questions to those who are doing better than me. I was never gonna, like, if I wanted to learn how to sell, I wasn't gonna ask someone that's selling 10 grand a month. I was asking someone that's selling 50, right? So I was always asking questions and seeking leadership from different people. But there's some things that I've been told to do and like that just simply didn't work for me. So it was just trial and error of just figuring little things out.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question. I know you brought up the leads earlier. Whenever you have like a new person, definitely making sure that they have like, $1,000, $2,000 to invest. Do you go based on, because I've heard different people, get them to have quality. And then some other people are like, no, have them have quantity. I'm like, how do you kind of approach that on someone buying their first batch of leads?
And that's good.
So every single person is different. So I highly recommend lead strategy calls. So if I'm onboarding someone direct, they're going to work directly with me. I'm not plugging them into another agency. So like if I have agents that I'm giving other agents to, I expect them to do lead strategy calls with the people that I'm giving them. But you want to get to know people's situations. So A, are they part-time or are they full-time? B, do they have time or do they have money? Right? Because if they have a lot of time but no money, then they can spend on the, cheaper leads and they could just buy more of them because they have a lot of time to dial, right? But if they have money but not very much time, I'm saying, hey, go buy the 30, 40, $50 leads, whatever, is more expensive, higher quality. That way they could just get on and off the phones and it's good for them. So I would just say customize it with every single person that you bring on.
Yeah, because I feel like I hear so many different stuff and I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I tell them to buy? Because I didn't get that. I was just like, I just need to go buy whatever it's out there. But yeah.
So Nina, if someone has $1,000 to invest right now and they're ready, they just they got contracted and everything, what would you recommend that they get right now?
I love like a mix of leads for sure. So like I'm probably telling them to get, a little bit of final expense leads. So I love final expense. Like that was my bread and butter last year. So I'm always going to promote it to people. So I always say like, hey, get maybe, 20 game time leads or 20 happy agent leads, and then use the rest towards the CRM. So it's going to be, the 1 month, 3 month, instant internet leads, like just get as much as possible, but also diversifying lead flow. Like I think it's important to run a little bit of everything.
Got it. Let's take 2 more questions and we are out. Anybody else have any questions for Miss Nina?
A question real quick.
Good.
What resources do you use to onboard new agents? Like to go through, like when I got onboarded, I think I was given like another agency, like access to another agency's training platform. What would you recommend to like give new agents that you've brought on to train?
Absolutely. So my strategy is this: if someone's been brought on into FFL, their first step is to start the contracting process. So as they're going through contracting, I let them know, hey, there's 5 to 7 day waiting period where you're waiting for your carriers to actually come in. So in those 5 to 7 business days, you're like loading up on the information. Do you guys use boot camp or no? Okay. So that's what I'm doing. I'm literally saying, okay, you're literally going to go through this boot camp, and I let them know to take their time on it. Like you're not going to learn all that information in a single day. So like I always say, take at least 3 days on the boot camp, because that's literally A through Z what you're going to learn FFL. So it's phone scripts, leads, all of that. If you end up finishing that up early, what you're going to do is go to FFL USA's YouTube channel and just soak up all the information on there, because you guys, there's literally thousands of videos on there that they can go through. And if they're still waiting for the agent codes, like I don't want them sitting there and just waiting. So I'm also plugging them into like the Facebook group. So like as soon as they're in the contracting process with us or they're in licensing, they're in the Facebook group. So they know that TNL is on, every single Friday. I'm sending them links to like new videos that are coming out. So just keeping them super engaged and plugged in. And then from there, once they get Americo, so I let everyone know, like if I'm onboarding them personally, once you get Americo, you and I are going to schedule a Zoom call, and we're going to go through like the whole onboarding and lead strategy process. So we get on Zoom, and I basically have them walk me through their schedule. Like, hey, if this is a part-time thing, what days are you working? Is it Monday through Friday? What days we're literally completely customizing their schedule. From there, we're customizing their lead flow.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You got it.
And last but not least, who's the last person? Anybody else have one more question? Oh.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Miss Nina, what was your mindset? Like, what was your mindset when you first started compared to what it is now? Like, what when you were having tough days or when days were challenging for you, what was your mindset? Like, what were things that you mentally had to do to correct the negative?
Absolutely.
thoughts?
So a lot of my stuff in the beginning was like I was hanging out the wrong people, and I just like looked at my life and I'm like, am I genuinely where I want to be? Like at all? Like, no, I'm not. I'm broke. I can only spend $400 in leads. It's either like I'm going to stay in this situation if I keep the patterns that I'm doing right now, which is not being consistent with lead orders, not being consistent with dialing the phones, not being consistent with literally anything in my life. And I was like, I need to get consistent, because when you're lacking, like for me, like when I started with FFL, I was lacking in all areas. So it wasn't just like work stuff. It was like the gym. Like I wasn't going into the gym as much. It was just like I was in this like lazy habit. And then once that, switch flipped, that's when I decided like, okay, like what these people that have what I want, like what have they done to get there? And that was like Grady Polson. So like, I think seeking out a mentor is huge. And like people, like these people that are where you want to be, like they love when people ask them questions and they love telling their stories. And that was one thing, like I just like poured everything onto Grady, I was like, hey, like, what did you do? Like, how do I get to where you want to be? And he gave me those steps. So I think seeking like proper mentorship again is huge. And actually, again, just the whole discipline factor. That's all it is. It's like actually doing what you like. Respect yourself by actually doing what you say you're going to do. Like if I tell myself today, hey, I'm going to wake up for 5 a.m. for the gym tomorrow, and I don't do it, like I'm going to wake up, I'm not going to be in the best mood because I disrespected myself by not doing what I was going to say or what I said I was going to do. So respect yourself enough to do what you say you're going to do and actually do it. And I think another thing is like, I started like mapping out my days. Like I'm super organized and structured. Like I know exactly what I'm doing from what time to what time. Like it's like 5 a.m. wake up, 6 a.m. gym sesh, 7 a.m. get ready for the office or get ready for the field. 8 a.m. if I'm not out the door by 8 a.m. I'm not productive. Like it's a bad day. Or if I'm not starting the phones like on a dial day at 8 a.m., if it's 8:01, I'm like OCD, like I'm about to lose it. So just being structured. And yeah, I mean, you guys are in a freaking great team right here. You guys have some beast leaders who are leading from the front. Like ask them questions and just have them pour into you.
I love it. And I'm gonna,
that's true.
appreciate that. And also reach out. Like I didn't know Nina before this, you guys. I reach out to a lot of people that are doing way more than me, and some people don't write me back. But it's just, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to people that you know that you admire, and you know they'll help you out.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
I'm on Facebook. You know, if you're on Instagram, whoever you've been following, if they're, you know, if you like what they see, then contact them. If they don't write you back,
that's what I did. I just started messaging people. I'm like, dude, like Instagram messages, Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages. I'm like, dude, these people are either going to respond and I'm going to have a lot to gain from it if they help me, or they just aren't going to respond. And I can find, there's so many successful people within FFL, like so many people to reach out to, you know what I mean?
But at the same time about that, when you are reaching out to people, you guys, I heard somebody say this term before and it cracked me up because like, don't be an asshole. ASK, don't be an asshole. So that means that don't reach out for information and, you know, advice. And then you listen, you might hear it, but you don't listen and you don't follow it. Right. So it's pointless if you don't actually implement the things that people are telling you. So if you're going to reach out, really reach out with intention of changing what you're doing in order to get the results.
I like
Did
that.
you get their names from the YouTubes? Is that how you figured everybody out, and from the Facebook pages?
Yeah, I mean, when you go on YouTube, just, you know, like type in FFL and whatever you're, you know, in home or FFL scripts, like whatever you're struggling in, and like these people that are, you know, training you on YouTube, find them on Facebook, and you'll start seeing suggested friends, and you'll notice that they're in Family First Life, and just start adding a whole bunch of people.
That was like the YouTube videos. Like I watched every single video and I was like, dang, I really like Alondra. That was like my girl. And Brittany Smart. I was like, dude, these girls are killing it. Like I'm going to just add them. I'm going to become friends with them. Like I want what they have. So I'm going to follow them and do exactly what they're doing. And it works.
I love, y'all aren't on the same team?
Mm-mm.
Wow. I love this business. Y'all.
No, it's the best.
I freaking love it. I love it. All right. You guys, y'all unmute yourself. Y'all say goodnight to Nina. I appreciate you, girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
having me,
Everyone.
Nina.
Good night, Nina.
Good night.
guys.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.